Have you ever noticed how some people seem to be respected anywhere they go, while others are constantly ignored, belittled, and even humiliated? The harsh truth is this: many times, it's not the world that brings us down, but the way we choose to position ourselves in front of it. The good news is that Stoic philosophy has preserved age-old secrets to flip this game around, secrets that still work perfectly in today's chaos of social media, endless comparisons, and constant pressure. How many times have you felt small, even when giving your best? Maybe during an argument at work, in a toxic relationship, or while reading destructive comments online. That feeling of humiliation is a silent wound that steals energy, confidence, and inner peace. But what if I told you there's a way to never again place yourself in that position of weakness? A way to walk firmly, with respect and dignity, without ever needing to shout or explain yourself. Today you're going to discover 6 Stoic secrets to never humiliate yourself again. These are lessons drawn from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, and Epictetus's Enchiridion, adapted to our modern world. Each secret is practical, profound, and will show you how to transform humiliation into silent respect. So make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and share this video, because what comes next may completely change the way you live. Write in the comments, "I choose peace," to show that you are committed to this change. The first Stoic secret to never humiliate yourself again begins within you, your inner posture. Marcus Aurelius said that no one can diminish you without your consent, and that's where the key lies. When someone tries to belittle you, it's natural to want to react with anger or justify yourself. But Stoicism teaches that respect is not demanded with shouts. It is earned through the firm silence of someone who doesn't need to prove anything. Imagine that moment at work when someone mocks your ability. Instead of losing yourself in excuses, you answer calmly, keeping your gaze steady and your words objective. That confuses the aggressor and strengthens your image. Think about how many times someone has tried to test you. A sarcastic comment on social media, a veiled criticism at work, or that unfair comparison that keeps appearing. Most people feel the immediate urge to justify themselves, to fight back, or even to retaliate. But Stoic thought invites you to pause, breathe, and ask yourself, does this really define who I am? In that space between impulse and action lies true respect. The Stoics, like Seneca, called this self-mastery. He knew that anger is a prison, and those who cannot control their emotions become slaves to them. When you respond calmly in the face of provocation, you display mental strength, clarity, and Stoic discipline, and those who observe you immediately notice the difference. You are not guided by the heat of the moment, but by the solidity of your mind. That alone generates respect. In today's world, dominated by digital anxiety and social pressure, this ability is priceless. Who hasn't felt the urge to reply to a hateful comment online? Stoic wisdom suggests that strategic silence often says more than 1,000 words. Because each time you choose not to react to an attempt at humiliation, you are training your mind to remain calm and reinforcing your inner peace. This is not passivity. It is hidden strength. And here lies the mistake many make. They confuse silence with weakness. But conscious silence is a powerful weapon. It disarms attacks, preserves your energy, and reinforces your image as someone who will not lower themselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that the best revenge is not to become like your offender. Applying this mental clarity in daily life prevents you from playing small games and makes people see you as someone worthy of respect. Now reflect. Have you ever been in situations where you regretted reacting with anger or over-explaining yourself? Share your experience in the comments below, because learning together strengthens the community. But remember, building this inner posture is just the beginning. In the next secret, we will talk about something even more powerful: the invisible discipline that sustains all respect. If the first secret is inner posture, the second is invisible discipline. This is the silent foundation that builds lasting respect. Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor, lived by simple and consistent rules. Wake up early, reflect, write, and keep his mind aligned with reason. He knew that those without discipline become prisoners of circumstance. And in today's world, filled with constant distractions, Discipline is what separates those who are taken seriously from those who are easily forgotten. Think about how many times you've promised yourself change, to start exercising, to control your anger, to study with focus. But without discipline, all those promises fade away. Stoicism teaches that discipline is not about extreme rigidity, but about maintaining what matters, even when no one is watching. It is training yourself to do the right thing consistently until it becomes part of who you are. That builds trust in yourself and earns respect from others. Seneca said that a man's greatest power is in governing himself. If you don't govern your habits, they govern you. That's why small daily practices, like staying calm during arguments or finishing what you started, create authority. Invisible discipline doesn't seek applause, but when cultivated, it produces visible results. You don't need to announce you're disciplined. People see it in the way you live. In our modern environment, full of social media noise, excess information, and external pressure, discipline becomes even more rare. How many people start projects and abandon them halfway? How many are dominated by digital anxiety? The disciplined individual naturally stands out because their consistency makes them reliable. It's the difference between someone who promises a lot and delivers little, and someone who says little but always delivers. This discipline also shows up in how you handle criticism. The undisciplined react explosively. The disciplined, guided by Stoic wisdom, control the impulse, analyze with clarity, and respond only if it's useful. This ability to stay focused on what matters commands immediate respect. After all, those who master themselves cannot be bent by external pressure. Now think, have you been keeping the promises you make to yourself? Or do you still sabotage yourself with excuses and procrastination? Share it in the comments, because your struggle may inspire others. But remember, discipline without purpose is just routine, and that's why the next secret is essential. The clarity of values, which shows you where to invest your energy and ensures your discipline builds true respect. After invisible discipline, the third Stoic secret to never humiliate yourself again is clarity of values. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that a mind without direction is like a ship adrift at the mercy of the currents. In today's world, those currents are the opinions of others, constant comparisons on social media, and the endless chase for validation. Those without clear values get lost trying to please everyone and end up lowering themselves without even realizing it. Clarity of values works like a compass. It guides your choices and strengthens your posture toward life. Imagine someone who doesn't really know what they stand for. One day they say yes to everything, the next day they regret it, and in the end, they live exhausted and resentful. That happens because they don't know how to set limits. Stoic thought teaches that living by firm principles frees you from the need for constant approval. When you define what's non-negotiable in your life, self-respect, integrity, discipline, it becomes much harder for anyone to manipulate or humiliate you. Epictetus said that true freedom is doing only what is in harmony with your reason. This clarity allows you to walk away from degrading situations without guilt. For example, in a toxic workplace, someone with clarity of values knows how far they can go and when it's time to leave. That is not weakness, it's silent strength. By respecting your values, you automatically teach others to respect you. In today's world, where people change their opinions according to trends, those who remain faithful to their principles stand out. They are like a lighthouse in the fog, firm, constant, reliable. People respect those who have the courage to say no, to stand their ground, to not sell their values for convenience. That consistency creates moral authority and turns your presence into something solid. Clarity of values also protects your mind from burnout. When you know what truly matters, you avoid unnecessary battles and save energy. You don't need to reply to every negative comment. You don't need to justify yourself to shallow critics. You filter out the noise and focus only on what's essential for your journey. That's living Stoic wisdom in the 21st century. Now reflect. Have you ever lost yourself trying to please everyone, only to end up betraying yourself? Share in the comments if this has ever happened to you, because awareness is the first step to change. But remember, clarity of values requires action, and that's exactly what the next secret is about. Coherent action, which turns your values into visible respect. After clarity of values comes the fourth Stoic secret, coherent action. It's useless to know your principles if your daily behavior doesn't reflect them. Marcus Aurelius insisted that a man's character is revealed not by what he says, but by what he repeatedly does. And here lies a crucial point. Many people humiliate themselves because they live in contradiction, saying one thing and doing another. Those who act incoherently lose credibility, and without credibility, there can be no respect. Think about everyday situations. Someone preaches discipline but is always late. Another speaks of self-control but explodes at minor criticism, or the one who claims to value integrity but lies to escape a situation. These inconsistencies corrode a person's image. Stoic thought shows that respect cannot exist without consistency. Each incoherent action is like a hole in a boat, small at first, but capable of sinking your entire reputation over time. Epictetus reminded us that we should not be proud of merely understanding philosophy, but of practicing it. This means turning values into concrete gestures, staying calm in arguments, keeping your word, respecting those around you. Coherent action creates a silent but powerful effect. Gradually, you become someone predictable in integrity, and that inspires trust in others. In today's world, filled with empty speeches on social media, coherent action is a huge differentiator. How many people promise change but live on appearances? Those who truly act don't need self-promotion, their results speak for themselves. Coherence builds authority effortlessly, because respect is born when people see that your life reflects what you believe in. And coherence doesn't require grand gestures. It's built in small daily acts, treating well those who can't give you anything, keeping your word even when no one is watching, holding back anger when it would be easier to explode. It's in these invisible moments that you stop humiliating yourself and start being respected. This is Stoic discipline applied in silence. Now reflect. Is your life today aligned with what you say you value? Or is there still a gap between your words and actions? Share in the comments, because recognizing that difference can be transformative. But understand, coherence alone is not enough. In the next secret, we'll reveal the power of a forgotten resource that multiplies respect: the art of strategic silence. The fifth Stoic secret to never humiliate yourself is mastering the art of strategic silence. Seneca warned that those who talk too much reveal their weakness, while those who know how to remain silent preserve their strength. In the modern world, marked by the constant need for opinions and exposure on social media, learning to stay quiet is an act of resistance. Conscious silence is not passivity, it is wisdom in action. It shows that you don't need to justify yourself all the time, and projects a silent confidence that earns respect. How many times have you regretted speaking impulsively? Maybe in a family argument, at a work meeting, or while replying to online comments. The urge to respond is natural, but Stoic thought invites you to ask, will this response strengthen me or weaken me? When you hold your tongue and choose not to react immediately, you prove to yourself that you are not a slave to emotion. That kind of mental strength impresses anyone watching. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that it's often better to endure in silence than to try to explain yourself to those unwilling to listen. Strategic silence breaks the cycle of humiliation because it shows that you are not shaken by attacks or shallow criticism. It's as if you're saying without words, I don't need to play this game. This posture changes the entire atmosphere, disarming those who expect an explosive reaction. In the digital age where everyone competes for attention, those who master silence are rare. It's easy to fall into the trap of replying to criticism or trying to convince haters. But Stoic wisdom teaches that not every comment deserves an answer. True respect comes when you choose your battles carefully and speak only when necessary. That way, each word you say carries weight, because people realize you don't speak just to speak. Silence is also an exercise in the power of perception. It allows you to observe more, better understand others' intentions, and act with mental clarity. While most rush into judgments, the strategically silent see further. This not only protects you from humiliation, but also builds the image of someone wise and hard to manipulate. And that aura naturally generates respect, because people trust those who don't rush to speak. Now reflect. How many problems in your life could have been avoided with silence? Share in the comments because your story might help someone else. But remember, strategic silence is powerful, yet it must be supported by something deeper. In the next secret, you will discover Stoic resilience, the strength that keeps your dignity intact even in the harshest trials. The sixth Stoic secret to never humiliate yourself is cultivating Stoic resilience, the strength to remain firm even when everything around you seems to collapse. Marcus Aurelius, facing wars, betrayals, and illness, reminded himself that human beings have within them enough resources to endure any pain. Humiliation only finds space when we believe we are too fragile to resist. But Stoic philosophy shows that it is precisely in trials that we reveal who we truly are. Think of how many times life has brought you to your knees. Losses, unfair criticism, failure, rejection. Situations that could have shattered your confidence, but instead gave you the chance to rebuild stronger. Stoic resilience teaches you to see every difficulty as training, as if the universe were shaping your mind to be steadier, calmer, more immune to others' opinions. This mindset changes everything. From victim, you become the author of your own story. Seneca wrote in his letters that no one is unhappy simply because they face difficulties, but because they don't know how to use them as tools for growth. Once you understand this, humiliation loses its power. That cruel criticism, that painful breakup, or even social pressure becomes a practical lesson. You don't just survive, you learn to thrive in the chaos. This ability to turn pain into strength is one of the most powerful marks of Stoic philosophy. In today's world, full of digital comparisons, anxiety, and external demands, resilience is almost a superpower. While many collapse at the smallest obstacle, the one who carries Stoic wisdom remains serene. This immediately commands respect, because people naturally admire those who don't break easily. Your presence inspires confidence, your calm transmits security, and your life becomes a living example of mental strength. Resilience is also practical. It means standing up after failure, staying disciplined even in exhaustion, protecting your inner peace even in a chaotic environment. It's not about never falling, it's about always rising with greater clarity. This silent strength makes humiliation impossible because nothing external can strip away your dignity. Now that you've discovered the 6 Stoic secrets to never humiliate yourself again, the decision is in your hands. Respect is not born from grand speeches, but from small daily actions. Staying calm in the face of provocations, acting in alignment with your values, and refusing to be swayed by shallow criticism. When you put these teachings into practice, your posture shifts, and the world begins to notice this silent transformation. Stoic philosophy reminds us that no one can bring us down without our permission. When you master your emotions, define your values, and practice resilience, what once felt like humiliation becomes nothing more than training to strengthen your mind. At that moment, your presence begins to inspire respect, confidence, and even admiration, because everyone recognizes the strength of someone who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these secrets spoke the most to your life? Which one are you going to apply today? Write it down in the comments, because your experience may inspire others who are also seeking dignity and inner peace. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a like. And remember, living with posture, discipline, clarity, action, silence, and resilience is the challenge that separates those who humiliate themselves from those who earn respect.